What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Instant Replay, your favorite sports podcast. I'm your host, Zohaib Nakvi. This week, we talked to Tamour Sheikh, who is a huge baseball fan, specifically the Toronto Blue Jays. So we talked to him, get to know him a little bit, and at the same time, get his views on what the past season was like and what this season's going to be all about. Hope you guys enjoy. Since you're our first official guest, what I want to do is kind of get your sports palette. So just a general list of questions like, what's your favorite sport?
Okay.
Have you answered those type of questions?
Okay.
And maybe like a 30-second response in terms of, your favorite sport.
Baseball.
Baseball. Why?
Baseball is my favorite sport, and I know a lot of people are gonna, hit me on this, but just like watching every single pitch and the strategy behind every single pitch.
Yeah, tons.
It's just like, if you're a certain batter, like you do a scouting report on the pitcher and you sort of need to know what his style of pitching is, what he's going to throw you at 2 strikes, 1 strike, 3 strikes, so I think baseball for me was and is my first love.
Yeah.
Right. But it's sort of, like a 3-way tie between baseball, basketball.
Oh, yeah.
And MMA.
MMA as well, eh?
MMA.
Okay, fair enough.
Football comes in at a close second. I played football, and you know that too.
Before we, I know, I remember
Yeah.
we went to high school together, and
Yeah.
I know you played
Yeah,
O-line
yeah.
for Meadowville. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And so maybe you can tell me a little bit, or at least a quick synopsis on who you think is going to win the Super Bowl.
I think the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the reason is, I stopped betting against Tom Brady a long time ago.
Yeah. When's the last time you bet against Tom Brady?
Every single time I bet against Tom Brady.
Really?
Tom Brady, as much as I dislike the Patriots, as much as I dislike anything Boston.
Yeah.
Right? As a sports guy, as a football guy, I cannot hate on Tom Brady.
No, you can't.
Right? I can't hate on his greatness anymore.
No, you can't.
Right? I can hate on the Patriots and Patriots fans as much as I want, but Tom Brady is, or probably will go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
I think he is the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Firstly, he's making the 7th Super Bowl appearance,
Oh, yeah.
which is more than 28 teams. I read that stat. More than 28 teams in their franchise history, which is nuts.
I'm not sure if you've seen that stat, but Super Bowls since the last I think the last 12 or 13 years have seen the same 4 quarterbacks.
Wow.
I think it's like Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger.
Wow.
And then I have a one-off in Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Right? So, man, like Tom Brady is just pure greatness.
Yeah. Every year you consider them, contending for the championship.
I mean, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
Right. The Falcons have a high-powered off. How about Julio Jones, man?
Yeah, he's pretty nuts, eh?
Yeah, he's a freak. He's a freak athlete.
He's a beast. I think he's gonna be one of the greatest receivers if he stays healthy.
But Atlanta came out of nowhere this year.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
To be quite honest, it's shocking to me.
I mean, the Browns had a higher odds of winning the Super Bowl in Las Vegas this year than the Falcons.
What? That's odd for the odds maker. That doesn't make any sense for the odds maker. Browns are never ever in contention.
So the Falcons came out of nowhere, and I'm a Packers guy, you know that.
Yeah, I know that. I know that
right?
for sure.
And I turned the game off at 31-0.
Oh, that was a beatdown, man.
Right? Yeah.
That was a beatdown.
Yeah, man, that was bad. That was bad.
Okay, so then speaking of greatness and Tom Brady, do you have a favorite athlete? Is he your... Well, clearly he's not your favorite. You're more of a... I wouldn't say hater, but you respect him. You don't like him, but you respect him.
I respect him, but I don't like the Patriots.
Okay, so who's your favorite athlete?
My favorite
Any
athlete.
sport.
My favorite athlete. Oh man, that's a loaded question. like my favorite athlete.
Name me your top 3 then. Top
3. So up there's Russell Westbrook.
Oh, okay. So you're loving this season.
Russell Westbrook's up there. He's killing it this year. I have no idea why he's not a starter in the All-Star game.
What a snub, eh?
Oh man, huge
snub. What a snub. We recorded our All-Star starters and reserve reaction episode just recently.
Yeah.
And in that we talk about exactly
I would have lost
that.
it. I would have lost it.
We were like it didn't make sense.
Yeah, I think fan voting's got to go.
Man. But that's like the only time we get to input in the season. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, vote for the reserves or like vote for the celebrity all-star game or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But like you're snubbing guys that deserve to be in the all-star game. It's not fair.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in the All-Star game. He's just not a starter.
Yeah, and that's I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
Right? Which is what I love about him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he doesn't really care. He doesn't put up a fuss about it. He's not like Damian Lillard, who's going to go crying that he didn't make the All-Star game.
Yeah, Damian Lillard and Rudy Gobert, to be quite honest. Rudy
Gobert's a nobody. I don't know why he's talking.
No, he's killing it this year, man.
Yeah,
he's killing it. Utah's 4th in the West. That says something.
Yeah, but
number 2 defense.
You also have to consider that you're playing in the West.
Yeah.
Right? There's always going to be players that are going to be favored over
others, yeah.
A small market team like Utah. And I think Utah
That's fair.
I think they have one All-Star.
Yeah.
In Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
And they should be happy with having one All-Star.
Yeah, I think they are very happy with it. Okay, so that's your favorite athlete.
Yeah.
What about your favorite team in any sport?
My favorite team would be the Toronto Blue Jays.
Really, eh? Yeah. Okay,
Toronto
fair
Blue
enough.
Jays,
Native Toronto fan?
Native Toronto fan.
How'd you become a Toronto fan? Like, how'd you become a Blue Jays fan? When did you start watching?
Like, I would say I used to have this really, really small TV in my room when I was in grade 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I just remember coming home every day from school and just putting on the Jays game. It'd be on every day.
Yeah.
It'd be on every day,
pretty
right?
much every day, yeah, baseball.
So I would have something to do every day at 7 o'clock, right? And and that's how I became a Jays fan. I remember the first season I was watching, we had Vernon Wells in center field.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with him. And I remember, back in the day, we had John Gibbons as our our manager still.
Of course.
And and so just being a native Toronto fan, I always loved their gear.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
And so I think Toronto's my favorite team.
Fair.
In sort of any sport that has a Toronto team.
Nice, awesome. Right? So naturally, Toronto being your favorite sports team, this is an awesome. I'm very grateful for having you on to help me understand a little bit more about baseball at the same time.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. Since we are talking about the Blue Jays, I think this is an awesome segue into what do you think about the Blue Jays last season? Did you think that they were successful in where they got to in terms of the conference, series, or do you think that in terms of your expectations, because that's the second year in a row they've basically been knocked out at the exact same spot?
Yeah.
Right? Do you think that was not a successful season? What do you think?
I think so first let me start off by saying that the last 2 years have been an incredible ride.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
so grateful as a fan.
They made the playoffs for the first time 2 years ago in my whole lifetime.
Yeah.
Right? So they made the playoffs last time in 1993. I was born in 1994.
Oh, you're a 94 baby.
Yeah.
Damn.
So just seeing the buzz in the city and going out to watch games, going to the playoff game. I was at the wild card game. I'll never gonna forget that in my life.
Nice.
Right? Watching Jose do that bat flip and like those are just gonna be like entrenched memories for me as a Blue Jays fan.
Fair, yeah,
right?
No.
So let me start by saying that last year didn't end the way most Blue Jays fans wanted to.
Yeah.
Right. But coming from where we came from.
Yeah.
Right. We were almost down and out in September.
For sure.
Right. And our bats weren't doing us any good.
Yeah.
Right. Josh Donaldson had a horrible second half of the season.
Yeah, he did.
Right. He had an MVP caliber first half of the season. Same with Michael Saunders. He fell off too.
Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about. When they start off, at the top, and then like everyone's geared and ready to go at the start of the season, and then suddenly it seems like they're slumping.
Yeah, and one thing you have to understand about baseball is that it's a very long season.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So there's gonna be, in almost all instances, no sustained success of winning
for sure
throughout the season. There's gonna be ups, there's gonna be downs. You just have to make sure there's more ups and downs.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Right.
I gotcha.
And you cannot always expect a healthy team, and the Jays got so lucky this year with a healthy rotation.
Yeah.
I think they missed a total of 3 games total.
Wow.
In the rotation.
And that's rare for a bullpen, right?
No, for the starting rotation.
Oh, for the starting rotation.
Yeah. And Estrada missed 2 of those. Right? So they were super healthy and they had the best rotation in the AL. Right? ERA wise.
Yeah.
And so the rotation held up, but I think where we had a setback this year was with our bats, right? And that was evident in the ALCS.
So I see where you're going with this, but like my view is, and what I've heard from most people historically is that, for what I've heard from most people historically is that, in terms of the pitching, I find that we don't have the depth that, let's say, a Cleveland did in terms of the pitching, right?
Depth as in like minor league depth, or
no,
depth as
like bullpen depth.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think. I mean, our bullpen, I have no idea how Ross Atkins threw together this bullpen during the season. Like, we had a pretty solid bullpen. Like Grilly, Benoit, who had that freak injury against the Yankees, running out of the bullpen. So we had Osuna.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Osuna in the back of the bullpen,
fantastic closer.
Right. So our bullpen was there, but I feel like. It wasn't as good as the Cleveland bullpen. Cleveland pitched a whole game, 9 innings with their bullpen against us.
Yeah.
Right? And I just don't see that happening, with the Blue Jays, right? Osuna was pitching like 2 or 3 innings a game.
Yeah.
Right, in the ALCS.
Yeah, so let me ask you this, right? So clearly the offense struggled last year, around midway through the season, and clearly the bullpen isn't as deep as we want. Which problem would you address first if you were sitting in the GM spot?
I would address the offense first.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Right?
Eh?
And history has shown in baseball that throwing money at a bullpen just doesn't work out.
Really?
Right? I'm not sure if you remember, but a little while back, the Jays signed B.J. Ryan. And B.J. Ryan was a highly touted closer.
Yeah.
He did very well for the Baltimore Orioles, and we gave him the most money we've ever given to a pitcher.
Yeah.
Right? And he basically ended up getting non-tendered.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So it's, it's been shown that, it's much easier to put together a bullpen and, like, piece together a bullpen during the year.
Right.
Than it is to piece together, a solid offense.
Right.
So if I was Ross Atkins, I would focus right now on how to improve our offense and make it more balanced. I think last year we just weren't a balanced offense, right?
Gotcha.
Really home run heavy, right? We relied too much on the home run. Almost no speed.
But isn't that the case for us all the time? Like, we don't manufacture runs like Kansas does, or we don't manufacture even Cleveland.
Cleveland put on like a small ball clinic against us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, why don't we ever adopt that mentality? Because clearly that's the winning mentality the last 2 seasons for the Kansas City Royals and for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Another championship team. But for, Cleveland Indians. I just don't understand why we're not adopting that strategy, because we do great in the regular season in terms of getting home runs, but then the game seems to have, the scores come down significantly in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is in
it's
terms of
pitching
the
steps up.
Exactly. I think because when you're in a 7-game or a 5-game series with someone, they're gonna know exactly where you don't want to hit the ball, right?
Exactly.
Each batter, they know inside the box, outside the box, lower, where you want to pitch it, exactly, pinpoint accuracy, and I just don't understand why we don't manufacture runs. There's so many times this season when the bases had players ready to go and we didn't convert them into runs.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why that's the case.
It's and I ask myself that question all the time.
Yeah.
Right? But if you look at it in depth, I mean it's the mix of players that we have. Right? So if you look at our lineup, we don't have a true leadoff hitter. Right? We had Jose Bautista leading off. We had Devin Travis leading off.
Right.
And then if you go down the middle of our order, you don't really have run manufacturing players.
Right.
Right? Like you have a Donaldson who can hit for average. Right? Like you have you have a Tulowitzki who can hit for average, and he's hit for average in the past, right? But after that, who do you have that's going to manufacture runs, right? Kevin Pillar maybe.
Yeah.
Right? But what you see mostly in a high-powered offense like the Blue Jays, where they're very, they're very reliant on the home run
all the time. Yeah,
is you see a lot of strikeouts, right? And you see a lot of people not getting on base.
But isn't that that's a terrible strategy, man? Like, to go all or nothing. That's basically what you're telling me. Go all in or nothing, right?
Yeah, And that's what I think Ross Atkins was trying to do this summer, and he's failed miserably, was to get younger and to get faster.
Right.
Right? Instead, he's gotten older and slower.
So, speaking of the off-season, we know what's happened so far for us in terms of signings, and that's, signing our iconic sports figure here, Jose Bautista. So what do you think about that signing, Tamour?
Jose Bautista signing, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I did like it a lot. I mean, I would have hated to see both Edwin and Jose go at the same time.
That would be heartbreaking.
Right? And I think Rogers would have hated it too. I think they would have seen a drop in ticket sales.
Oh, for sure. I think so too.
And actually, they actually have an attendance incentive on Jose Bautista's contract.
Really?
Right? So if the Jays hit a certain amount of attendance, then there's an incentive tied to that. I think it's up to $1 million.
He gets a bonus.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But I think Jose is the ideal fit for us right now.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I don't mean ideal, but he's a more than ideal fit.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? We had a hole in the outfield.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
We had about at this time, if Jose wasn't signed, we would have had Melvin Upton playing right field and Ezekiel Carrera playing left field.
Yeah.
And that is not a playoff team's outfield.
No, eh?
Right? And what I think Jose does is that Jose comes in and he reinforces our outfield.
For sure.
Right? I think he's still decent defensively, and people don't give him credit for how good he is defensively.
Yeah, no one does, to be quite honest. Now,
and people are like, "Oh, he's old.
That's
he's
exactly
slow."
what I mean. Yeah,
he missed a couple balls here and there, but come on, he has an unbelievable arm still.
Yep.
Right. I think he's more than capable of playing right field and succeeding.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And so, in terms of his production, though, he is 37 years old.
Turning 37 now.
Right. So he's turning 37 years old. He played 116 games last year. He had about 22 home runs and 69 RBIs. So the production level did taper off compared to the year before.
Yeah, but it was an injury-plagued season.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
And if you think about it, in an injury-plagued season, he still came in and was productive.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had 22 home runs. For a guy that was battling shoulder and toe injuries all season, I think it says a lot about him as a baseball player.
Yeah.
Right? He did struggle in the playoffs. Right? I mean, he did have that home run in the wild card game, but after that, he didn't really do much.
Would you say the bat flip is your most favorite iconic sports moment ever?
Most iconic Blue Jays moment, I would say, is that.
You would say that
right?
one, eh?
That I've seen.
That you've seen.
Right?
Since 94.
Since 94.
Right. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Cool. So, but what do you make of, at the start of the season when people were talking about, or people, it's really Jose Bautista that was coming out and saying, he wants a much bigger figure in terms of his salary with a much bigger, longer-term contract. And, fans who, historically, for Toronto fans, Jose Bautista has meant a lot. They've suddenly turned the page and they said, this guy's getting greedy.
Yeah.
So what do you say to that?
Well, you have to understand that I don't think Jose was happy with Alex Anthopoulos leaving. Right?
Yeah.
So Jose had a rapport and he had a relationship with Alex Anthopoulos.
For sure.
Right? And, with the new brass coming in and Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to say his name right. It's not Shapiro, it's Shapiro.
Shapiro, yeah.
And I think he was trying to make a point.
Yeah.
Right? That he wasn't gonna be bullied and he wasn't gonna be talked into something lesser than what he thinks he actually is. Right?
For sure.
And I think with that new management coming in, I think there was some tension there as well between Jose and the Blue Jays stars, just the way that Alex Anthopoulos had left, right?
Yeah.
I think they had lost sort of confidence in upper management and ownership. Nobody knew the direction the team was gonna go.
For sure.
Right? So there was some uncertainty there.
Well, do you give Mark Shapiro, since you brought up his name, do you think he's gonna be able to replicate what he's done for Cleveland Indians? There before he left? That's his team.
Yeah.
Right? That's his team that he put together.
Yeah.
And now they've made the World Series. Do you think he's going to be able to do that in Toronto?
I think this year is going to dictate a lot. Right? So depending on, I mean, he did he did come out and say that he's here to win and he's here to sustain a winning organization.
Yeah.
Right? But I think right now he's still working with Alex's team.
Yeah, for sure.
For the most part.
Yeah, for sure. No,
right?
I think majority
right?
is Alex constructed.
So we're not really gonna know what sort of footprint he's gonna put on the Blue Jays until I think after the season, or like how this season ends off. I mean, if we end off in the playoffs again,
yeah,
I think we're gonna see us keep throwing money at older free agents to make immediate impacts, right?
For sure.
But I think if this year we slump off, or like we barely miss the playoffs, or get to the playoffs and get knocked out in the first round, I think we're gonna see some changes.
You think so?
I think Mark Shapiro likes to build from within.
Yeah.
Right. Like so. Like a perfect example is Francisco Lindor.
Yeah.
In back in Cleveland, and so I think this season will dictate what direction we take. I think if we have not that good of a season, I think we're gonna start to build through the draft and build through our farm system, rather than throw money at older free agents.
Right.
But if we do make the playoffs and we make it back to the ALCS, I just don't see us rebuilding,
really?
Or like retooling, as they say it.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is clearly what we're trying to do this offseason. We're not rebuilding.
No.
We haven't rebuilt.
Or we're just patching up holes.
Exactly.
Right? Or we're just patching up holes and we're hoping to contend, right?
Right.
And I think the key word is hope, because we haven't really made any big splashes.
No, at all.
Right? I mean, like the only
to be
big...
quite honest, yeah, Morales, right?
Kendry Morales,
yeah.
Kendry Morales is like a big-ish splash, right? Like he's not that big of a name. I think the biggest signing has been Jose Bautista so far, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Right? But we still have holes in the bullpen, right? We don't really have starting pitching depth in the minor leagues at all, right? And I think secretly Ross Atkins was hoping Bautista would sign elsewhere so we could get that compensatory draft pick.
Ah, gotcha.
Right? Because his signing was attached to a draft pick, and I think that's also what drove his market down as well.
Right.
Like his market value down as well, since he denied that qualifying offer.
Yeah.
Right. So teams were kind of hesitant to give up a first-round draft pick to sign a 37-year-old aging veteran.
Yeah,
right?
Makes sense. So in our perspective, do you think that, because we haven't made a splash, have the other teams in AL East division actually made a splash by signing other individuals, or do you think that everything's kind of stayed the same? Because all we care about right now is to beat the other teams in the AL East, right? That's our number one priority, to get a better record than them.
Yeah, I think Boston, with Chris Sale, they got Chris Sale this summer.
Yeah.
Boston is an incredible team.
Really?
Right? And Boston is a perfect example of going younger and going slower. Sorry, younger and faster.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at, they have an MVP caliber outfielder in Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Right? Their pitching is incredible. John Farrell's an incredible manager. I wish he stayed in Toronto.
Yeah.
Right? Boston got better.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
New York, I think still is in their a retooling phase and sort of rebuilding phase.
Sure.
After Derek Jeter, after Alex Rodriguez, after Mariano Rivera, maybe Andy Pettitte. Mark Teixeira's career is winding down too, so I think they're in a process of sort of retooling and getting back to that championship caliber team.
Yeah.
But I think that's not going to take very long. I mean, they throw money at
everyone. Right? Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, you can accelerate your process as much as you want in baseball. Yeah. If you're going to throw, millions and hundreds of millions.
I mean, there's no salary cap, right? So like owners that are willing to throw cash and throw money. Yeah. Like they'll be able to put a team together that can contend year after year, right? Yeah. But when you have ownership like Rogers, right? They're sort of trying to strike a balance between a contending team and also like making a profit and controlling expenses.
Do you think Rogers has done a good job in terms of putting a good team consistently on the field?
For the Blue Jays?
For the Blue Jays.
Yeah. I think there's been a lot of luck.
Yeah.
A lot of luck. Yeah. I mean, Jose Bautista came out of nowhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like,
I totally agree.
He was a utility player that came out of nowhere and then signed an incredibly team-friendly contract.
Yep.
Right?
And now he's an all-star.
Right?
Yep.
Edwin Encarnacion was released by the Blue Jays. Yep. Picked up by the Oakland A's, released by the Oakland A's, picked up back by the Blue Jays, and then the rest is history.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
We signed Estrada, who nobody expected to be as good as he's been.
You know what I don't get is, unlike any other sport, in baseball, you have those kind of stories.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, you hear it with football, like, in terms of, like, Belichick picking up unsigned or undrafted. Chris Hogan, perfect example, right?
Yeah.
You hear of that. That's an exception. Put that to the side. Maybe even you hear it in the Spurs. You know, they'll find some talent, raw talent, like Kawhi Leonard. They traded George Hill at a time where George Hill was supposed to be really good for them.
Yeah.
And they got Kawhi Leonard, and, like, he was a nobody.
Yeah.
And now look, he is probably the best two-way player right now in the game outside of LeBron.
I agree.
Right? So then you kind of like see it's rare in sports for this to happen, but in baseball it's very common to have like a very, a great season and then suddenly you could be an undrafted person and then suddenly you're getting incrementally better and suddenly you get a big contract and you're in the limelight and some people love it, like they're crushing it then.
Yeah. Yeah. And like that's what I love about baseball is that any team any year could win it.
I don't know about that. I think you'll have your standard guys.
I like you have your standard teams like the Red Sox or the Giants, right? Or the Cubs,
Dodgers,
right? Cubs from now on, right?
Yeah, Cubs are gonna be dangerous. Yeah.
Right, Dodgers, St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you have those standard teams, but there's always those like freak teams that come out of nowhere every single year.
For sure.
Right. And like with the Blue Jays, I think they've been incredibly lucky over the last decade or so.
Yeah.
Right. To get all this talent to come out of nowhere and sort of now build a new Blue Jays legacy.
For sure.
Right. And the perfect example of that is Jose and Edwin Encarnacion.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. And since you did bring up the whole idea of getting younger and faster, I mean, if we're looking at this in terms of a young team and a young championship team, you look at the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
And tell me you're not worried that they're going to be the team that's favorite to win again next year.
I'm not sure if you know this, but the Jays drafted Chris Bryant.
Oh, get out of here!
And he refused to sign to go and play in college.
Wow.
Right. So yeah, like that's
just bad luck.
That's just a fun fact.
Why? He didn't want to play in Canada, or what was the deal?
No, he wanted to go to college.
Oh, he actually did want to go to college.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so and I don't know how baseball drafting works, but you know how in NBA you draft, you get the rights for that player. Is that not how it works in baseball?
No. So in baseball, there's like a ton of rounds. I'm not even sure how many rounds there are. I think there's like over 100 rounds.
Wow.
Right. And so like players don't declare for the draft.
Oh.
Right. So there's all this. So there's all these high school, college players that baseball players can call up and be like, look, we're selecting you in our draft, right? And then they can either sign or refuse to sign.
Huh.
Right? So it's sort of like, hey, like we want to draft you and we use our pick to exclusively negotiate a contract with you. That's essentially what it is. It's an exclusive agreement to negotiate a contract.
Wow.
Right? And they can refuse the contract and then they can get drafted again, the following year.
That's so crazy. That's totally different than NFL or totally different than NBA.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
I mean, like
even NHL. And NHL draft is totally different too.
Yeah. I mean, like if you were to compare the NBA draft, I think the NBA draft is the most structured.
For sure.
Right? I think you have a structure, you have
NFL too. I think both of them.
NFL as well, but like I think the NBA, like you have to spend 1 year in college.
Oh,
right.
Then
you're eligible for the NBA, and then there's rankings, and there's salary slots for each pick.
For sure, yeah.
Right. You could have a second round pick in the MLB signed for $5 million. And you could have a first overall pick signed for $2 million. Like there's no, there's no
because they're independently negotiated.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Right.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Right. So you could have a player who has it like first round potential, but has been injured or whatnot.
So the fact that we drafted Chris Bryant, who is phenomenal, right? Like phenomenal hitter now, and he's basically come into the league. We drafted him, but that doesn't mean anything because he decided to go to college. Is that what I'm getting? So he basically rejected our offer
to go to college,
and then came back and was redrafted. Is that correct?
He was drafted earlier.
Right?
Okay. So I think we drafted him in the 8th round.
Wow.
right, or something like that.
What could have been?
And then he came back, and I'm not sure what round he went in, but he went in an earlier round.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think the Cubs are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Right.
I bet.
And how they rebuilt their team is what I think how every MLB should rebuild their team. Like, so when their GM came in, right? He took over like a struggling franchise.
Oh, hands down.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
the cursed franchise.
Right, like this franchise was cursed.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
They were barely winning 50 games, and so he came in and like he knew that it was going to be a struggle for a couple years.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But they built that talent, right, in the farm system, and they built from within, and they got John Lester, and like they got lucky with Dexter Fowler, and
yeah, for sure.
Like they put together this solid team, and and it's all a process, right? Hashtag trust the process.
Yeah.
Right.
Shout out to Joel Embiid.
Yeah, it's all a process, right? And I think especially in baseball, you have to be patient.
Yeah.
Right.
No, for sure.
And so patience paid off for the Cubs, and yeah, like I think they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with in the NL for a very long time. Gotcha.
Okay, so last question for you, Tamour. What are you expecting of the Jays next year?
What I'm expecting of the Jays next year is I think we can still make the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Our offense is not that bad. Not as bad as like MLB experts make it. Like sometimes I'm watching SportsCenter and they're like, oh, the Jays offense, it's regressing, it's getting older, it's getting, like they just lost Edwin. But you have to understand, you have your former MVP Josh Donaldson in the middle of that lineup.
For sure.
Right?
Totally agree.
You have the former 2-time home run champ Jose Bautista in the middle of that lineup.
Yes, sir.
You have former NL MVP Troy Tulowitzki in that lineup.
For sure.
Right? So I think that lineup has a bunch of firepower still left and a bunch of talent still there that is very hungry to go back to the playoffs.
Right.
Right? And you still have Russell Martin.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I think Kevin Pillar is gonna have a good season this year at the plate.
Okay.
Right? It's gonna be his third full season. I think he's learning how to hit. Right? I can see him hitting for average this year.
Yeah.
And being a force in like the bottom
half of the
our lineup, which is where we've struggled a lot.
For sure. I totally agree.
Right, like you have your big, your big dogs in the middle of the lineup, and then you go to the bottom of the lineup and you have nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Watch out for Devin Travis this year.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Devin Travis draws a lot of comparisons to a guy named Jose Altuve. Right, out in Houston.
Yeah.
And a lot of MLB experts believe that Devin Travis can be, can be a, like a championship hitter.
Really? Wow.
Right. So I expect him to hit over 300 this year.
Wow.
And
that's high expectations.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you were following him in his rookie year, but he was hitting like a maniac in his a rookie year until he got injured. Right? So he was leading the AL in average in May.
Wow.
Right? And then unfortunately he had a shoulder injury and he was out for basically the rest of the season.
Gotcha.
Right? And so I think Devin Travis is going to have a huge season. Where I see the Blue Jays struggling is with their bullpen.
Yeah, as expected though.
Right?
But you said money can't buy a bullpen. Right?
Money can't buy a bullpen, and I think we're gonna piece together a bullpen somehow, some way, which we've been doing for the last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? As long and I think the Blue Jays' success with almost every other MLB team lies in their starting rotation.
Okay, as long as they stay healthy.
If they can stay healthy and sort of replicate what they did last year, right? I think their top three: Aaron Sanchez, Jay Happ, and Marcus Stroman in that order. I think they have enormous potential to be a contending top three. I mean, like they're all three are like ace caliber pitchers.
Right.
I think I'm not too sure about how Francisco Liriano is going to pitch this year.
Okay.
Right. I'm not too sure about him, but Estrada is going to be solid. He's going to give us 200 innings.
As usual, yeah.
Right. But I think if the Blue Jays rotation can stay healthy and consistent and sort of replicate what they did last year, I think I think ALCS is possible again.
Really? Wow. So you're saying they go deep in the playoffs as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I
well,
think so.
that's gonna be.
But it's all contingent on health.
Oh, gotcha. Of course, like any sport though, right? Like any
Yeah.
sport. Okay,
Yeah.
well that's good to know. So that's awesome hearing your perspective, Tamour. Really appreciate you coming on to Instant Replay.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me.
This is like I mentioned to you earlier. This is our first official baseball episode, and we'd love for you to come back.
Yeah, no.
At some point closer to training camp or closer to if there's a big signing, we'd love to have you come back and speak about that as well for the Blue Jays.
For sure, anytime.
Yeah, and we'll have you on for MMA as well and basketball. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hope you guys enjoyed. We will be uploading this soon. Stay tuned. See you guys. Peace.